not only do you have them, but you're adding to them thanks to a generous donation. Let's talk a little bit about what the special and rare collections are, just to give people a heads up on what that is, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So the Providence Athenæum is one of the great things about our collection is our special collections. We specialize in natural history, travel and exploration, old fiction, and old children's literature as well. So, for instance, in the old fiction and poetry, we have a first edition Leaves of Grass that's hand inscribed by Walt Whitman.
Wow.
That we paid $1.25 for. And we have a first edition Raven and Other Poems, and a first edition Moby Dick, and those sorts of things.
Oh, just absolutely incredible. And what treasures, not only to America, American literature, but now we have them here. Well, we've had them here in Providence. So let's talk a little bit, but those are special and in the rare collections. But you have added to the collection and now able to share that on display in something new, that in a new exhibit that just launched a couple days ago.
Yes, so I would encourage everybody to come to our special exhibit that's on display now. It's in conjunction with RISD's Nature Lab. And what we have on display that's very special to us are 3 plates that were cut from the Description of Egypt, which is one of the treasures of our collection. The Description of Egypt is a 25-volume set that was commissioned by Napoleon Bonaparte himself. It was done over about 10 years. It's a magnificent piece. And we have 25 volumes of this book, but sometime in the early 20th century, there were 14 plates removed from the books, and now because we have a very special gift that's just been made to the Athenæum, we're now able to restore that, hopefully.
So this is pretty incredible. So you had some pieces of the collection, and so when you received this gift, talk to us a little bit about what went into the decision making. We were like, we want to finish this as much as possible, or what went into the decision making?
Sure. So I should mention first that the Athenæum is very fortunate to receive a very special gift from a loyal anonymous couple that's been connected with the Athenæum, has made a $100,000 gift towards building and developing the special collections. The Athenæum historically has not been able to go out and actually proactively purchase things for the special collections. Most of the things that are in our collections were either bought by the proprietors, or we've inherited them from our earlier library, or people have left them to us. But we've never been able to actually go out and purchase things. So when we received this gift, the first thing that came to mind was, well, we have the vast majority of this, but we're missing these 14 pages. We'd like to get them back.
Okay, so it was kind of at the top of the priority list to try to hone in on this collection. I'm just going to have you squeeze over a little bit. And I just think this is so fascinating. And so what you have acquired, 3 plates are now on view. Observing Nature, the Edna Lawrence and Cabinets of Curiosity exhibition is on display now through June 17th. So you have the opportunity to come in and see part of this collection, which is a really neat opportunity because, again, just acquired.
Yes, yeah, you can see it. You can be some of the first people to see it, so come on down.
So this is, like you said, a pretty excellent opportunity because the Athenæum hasn't really had the opportunity to just go out and acquire things. Are there more opportunities now to keep looking, or what kind of comes next?
Absolutely. So we're talking about it. This is a really transformative gift for the Athenæum because it allows us to really think about, well, you know, we can't go out and buy a Picasso tomorrow, but we can think about what we want to add and be very strategic about it. And I know we have some very big plans.
Well, that's exciting news.
But I can't share them.
I mean, any hints? Is there anything? Well, that's the kind of thing. I mean, obviously, you can't give out full details, and this was a big step for you all. But I mean, when we're talking about rare and special collections, let's talk about kind of the mind frame and preserving what you do have.
Yeah, so the gift does allow us also to make some important preservation and conservation investments. The Athenæum we have 180,000 volumes in our collection. Some of them are quite old. All of them need conserving and preserving. So this gift will also allow us to help conserve and preserve some of our collection.
So let's talk about how the Athenæum does go about that, or in the process of even acquiring new things, you know, dreams, goals, big things. What would you like to see? We've talked, I think last time you were in here, about the humanities. You know, you don't have to say what's in the works or what's not in the works, but what would you like to see brought into Providence, or how could we go about making, whether it's special collections or not, making that better for Providence?
Well, I think that the Athenæum, I think one thing we have to do is make sure that we recognize the legacy of everybody who's contributed to the Athenæum, including women. If you walk into the Athenæum, you're going to see a lot of old dead white guys. I love dead white guys, but maybe we could have a dead white woman in there, you know, something like that. So that's some of the things we want to honor the legacy of all the people who are involved in the Athenæum, because it's really a community effort there.
No, I definitely think so. And I think probably now, 2017, 2018, we've seen a lot of progress in a lot of ways. So looking back in history and showing there were other contributors besides those dead white men.
Absolutely.
And you do a ton of programming at the Athenæum, bringing in many different people from many different perspectives. So I think that's always nice to incorporate programming with exhibits as well. And you all do a fantastic job of that.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk a little bit about some other exciting stuff happening at the Athenæum. This is pretty cool. You may have noticed a beautiful fountain out in front of the Athenæum. You have some good news about the fountain as well.
I do. Thanks to the generous contributions of 2 donors, we've been able to restore the fountain to operation. And it hasn't run in more than a decade. And on May 20th from 2 to 4, we'll be having a garden party. All are welcome. You can sign up at our website, and you can see the fountain flow again. And it's a very important piece of Providence history. That fountain is actually one of the first drinking fountains in Providence, and one of the first in the country, actually, that was installed.
This is so cool. I guess I knew that it was a beautiful piece of history of Rhode Island and of Providence, but I guess I didn't know really the actual history behind it. Can you talk to us a little bit about what a drinking fountain was and how important historically this fountain and getting the movement of water back into it really means for the city?
It means a lot, because I should say when the Athenæum was founded in 1838, at the opening remarks, Francis Wayland said, "We mean here to open a fountain of living water at which the intellectual thirst of the community may be slaked." And 35 years later, Anna Richmond made us a gift to put a drinking fountain in. At the time, clean drinking water was hard to come by, actually, and some of the people, there was a cholera epidemic, and that was the movement behind public municipal water systems. So providing this was a part of preventing disease, and also it was a part of the temperance movement to stop people from drinking. I'm not sure how well that worked, because it was a sort of an alternative to drinking booze, but people would drink a lot of alcohol because it was safe to drink alcohol rather than the water, which might get you sick.
So this is this is a symbolic gesture as well as an important historical gesture as well. Something else that I thought was pretty interesting was that the 19th century legend that once you drink it, you're destined to return to Providence. Can you talk a little bit about that?
There is
fascinating.
This legend does exist.
So
and
Rhode Island.
Yeah, it is very Rhode Island. A lot of people have come to me and told me this story, that if you drink from the fountain, it is said that you will always return to Providence. So come and drink from the fountain and never leave.
It's so Rhode Island. I love it, and I totally believe it.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what it was like for you to, for the Athenæum to get this up and running once again? What it was like for you? Were there any hurdles to jump over or jump through?
Yes. I've learned more about restoring fountains to operation than I ever wanted to know. It was actually quite extensive. We had to dig up the street in front of it. We had to it was very extensive. It took a long time, actually. When I first got there to the Athenæum in 2015, I thought, we have to do this. We have to get this fountain running again. And not just because, you know, it's ours to take care of, but because I think it really represents a lot about what the Athenæum values, which is this thing that's for the community, that's for everybody, that if you want to come and be refreshed, this is where you can come to do it. So it was important for that reason. As far as the actual work goes, it was a lot of work, and better men than me helped restore that thing to operation. I will say we had good help from our friends at Malone Plumbing. They really did a lot of good work there.
So shout out there. I think that's excellent, and I think what a neat movement going forward as we head into spring, and hopefully it will be hopefully we will feel like spring by then. So the garden party is Sunday, May 20th from 2 to 4. It's also an open house, so you can come. Going to be some music there as well, and some tours as well as activities for kids.
Yep, we're going to have tours, and bring the kids. There's going to be stuff for them to do. We'll have, I think, cucumber sandwiches and Prosecco. It'll be great.
This is an incredible opportunity if you haven't visited the Athenæum to come take a peek in as well. I'm curious to know, as we're continuing through spring and working our way into summer, what are things like as the weather gets nicer, maybe people aren't as curious to be snuggled up indoors as much? What's summer like in the Athenæum?
So the Athenæum, usually in the summer, around August, we close for a couple of weeks for major repairs to the building. We may be closed a little bit longer because we'll be replacing our roofs this year, which is very exciting. Yeah, it does slow down in the summer. There's not as much programming going on between July and August, but then we ramp back up again in September.
And get things up and running for the September fall time. Talk to us a little bit about what your goals are. Obviously, some major things happening with this fair. But I'm just combining special and rare today. Just those two words are going together for me today. Big things happening for you as well as the fountain. Can you talk to us a little bit about goals as we move forward for the rest of 2018?
Sure. Well, we've continued to see strong membership growth at the Athenæum, so that's very encouraging because we want to have more people using the Athenæum, more people experiencing our programs. We've been able to put all our programs online for the first time, which is very exciting. And really, we're building a really wonderful schedule of events at the Athenæum. So we have world-class authors and historians coming in all the time. And also, we just had an event Friday in conjunction with RISD's Nature Lab about the exhibit. So we really have just world-class programming, and we really want to keep that up.
And again, if you're interested in any of those events, you can check out their website. It seems like every event that I go and look at, it's always sold out, which is incredible.
Every single event we've done this year is sold out.
So probably continuing on that path for those goals, right?
Yes, that would be a good goal. That'd be a good problem to have.
It is. It seems to be a good problem. I always find it interesting, too, as well, to see who you're bringing in, who you're making those connections with. And I believe, Matt, last time that you were in here, that we did speak about the humanities and making sure that people have access to different, whether it's a famous architecture that's coming in, or a musician, or an author, and talking about the humanities. Why do you think that's important as we move forward in 2018?
I think the humanities are really important to the public discourse. I think that we have denigrated them for many years, and I think it's been to the detriment to the country. I think that enlightened conversation is really going to help us move forward as a country. So I believe the humanities are central to that, and the founders believe that as well.
Exactly. As we wrap up here, moving forward here on GoLocal Live, what else do you think people should know about the Athenæum? Maybe they've been a longtime supporter, maybe they've visited several times, or maybe they've just driven by and they're like, I wonder what that building is.
Well, Eddie, you could always just come in the Athenæum. You don't need to be a member. You can just walk right in. I know the exterior can be a little imposing, but you don't have to be a member. You can come in. Somebody will greet you. They'll show you around. It's a wonderful place to just come and see. If you've never seen it, you should come and see it.
Just come head in for a visit before the 20th, and then, of course, on the 20th of May as well, to celebrate the restoring of the fountain that apparently was hard to get up and running again. But we're
a little harder than I thought. But
we're so glad you did. All right, Matt, well, thank you so much for joining us here. Check out the Providence Athenæum. Thank you again for the wonderful continued programming.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to take a break here and set up for our next guest on GoLocal Live. Thanks so much for joining us. Please hang tight.